Cut to black. Roll the title sequence. You let out a sigh of relief. It was only a movie. But why did your body react so viscerally? What makes horror movies so scary? In essence, horror can be boiled down to 3 basic elements: sympathy, atmosphere, and suspense. Let's kick things off by taking a look at how horror movies utilize sympathy. Now, sympathy is a little bit weird to think about from a mechanical point of view. It seems so obvious that, yes, as an audience member, I should care about the characters in the story. But why? Before I continue, let's get one thing straight. Sympathy is fundamental to any good story, not just horror. By establishing sympathy between the audience and the characters on screen, you get the audience invested in the characters and their fates. You see, the characters in a film are the vehicle through which the audience experiences the story. If we care about them, we're gonna drive through to the end of the movie. Are all the characters selfish jerks? Then we're not gonna care in any meaningful way outside of cheering for their welcome demise. Ultimately, the only thing the audience is really gonna care about in a movie that fails to establish sympathy is that you wasted their $12 on a crappy movie. Now that we've got ourselves a handful of sympathetic characters, it's time to take advantage of the second fundamental aspect of good horror: atmosphere. Atmosphere is a broad word, and it's made up of a bunch of tiny moving pieces that all work together to help create and establish a sense of mood or feeling for a film. A key contributor to building that perfect atmosphere is mise en scène. Mise en scène is a fancy French phrase that's typically reserved for stage plays. It means the arrangement of scenery and stage properties in a play. Thankfully, translating that description to film is much easier. Basically, everything the camera sees is mise en scène, from the foliage, clothing, music, and even stuff like camera placement, frame balance, and of course, color. And even though I just defined mise en scène, it's so much more. But for the sake of brevity and your patience, mise en scène is arranging everything the camera sees in a way to produce an atmosphere effect, something that's vital in any good horror movie. Now I know what you're thinking. How can I tell if a horror movie has managed to establish sympathy with the characters and created a chilling atmosphere? Easy. Suspense. As an audience member who cares about the characters on screen, we fear for their lives because we know things the character doesn't. And that is the beauty of film. We know the killer is in the closet because we saw them go inside. The filmmaker plays fair by setting up the scares, which leads perfectly into a segue about jump scares. Jump scares are artificial moments planted to keep the audience engaged through use of a jump cut, loud change of music, and hopefully something scary for the audience to see. They're fine, but cheap. Sort of like ordering a burger from an AM/PM gas station. It'll get the job done, but you won't be very satisfied. What a lot of people fail to realize is the difference between being startled and being scared. Startling an audience is fun for a few seconds, like this. But do it too much, and you run the risk of annoying the audience. Good horror manipulates these 3 core elements to scare you, not startle you. It doesn't waste time making you leap out of your seat with a cheap thrill. Instead, it scares you by staying with you. It lingers long after the credits roll, while you walk through an empty parking lot back to your car. It follows you home, where you begin to wonder if you forgot to lock the front door. Good horror is the thing that goes bump in the night. It disturbs your deep sleep and plants itself deep into your dreams. Relating it back to food, like all good things, good horror is like a steak dinner. You got your meat, you got your potatoes, and you got your veggies. But sometimes, the meat you ordered is a little more rare than what you're used to. And that's sadly all the time we have left for this episode of CinemAddict. Like what you saw? Please, let me know. Have a suggestion for my next video? Tell me in the comments below. You can follow me on Twitter, @AdventNick. You can follow my writing for Twinfinite over at twinfinite.net. And if you're not tired of me yet, check out the rest of my writing over at freshlysqueezedlimon.wordpress.com. That about wraps us up for this episode, so I'll see you later, YouTube.